right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another English Grammar in Use lesson. As I said before, these lessons are meant for an intermediate level. And if you would like to work at home, or if you've missed any lessons from previous days, we would recommend you buy the English Grammar in Use book. This is so you can catch up on anything on your own. So today we will be covering lesson 3. Lesson 3 covers past simple I did and past continuous I was doing. All right. So before we get started, just a little quick recap. Hello, my name is Yousuf. I am from Cairo, Egypt, but I live and study in the United States of America. I will be your teacher for this course. So let's go ahead and get started. So here we have our first example. It reads, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was an Austrian musician and composer. He lived from 1756 to 1791. He started composing at the age of 5 and wrote more than 600 pieces of music. He was only 35 years old when he died. Okay, so lived, started, wrote, was, and died are all past simple. Why? Because they are all talking about something that happened in the past. So here we have a little statue, not like statue, it's like a head statue of Mozart. So very often the past simple ends in ed, like lived, started, died, things like that, usually ends with ed. So I work in a travel agency now. Before that, I worked in a department store. All right. So here we have worked means I worked before, or I did work before. Then we have they invited us to their party, but we decided not to go. Decided being that beforehand they decided, and invited being that before they invited. So the police stopped me on the way home, or on my way home last night. Laura passed her exam because she studied very hard. So they're all talking about things that happened before. Okay. So many verbs are irregular. All right. So the past simple does not end in ed with verbs that are irregular. Okay. For example, write, it would be wrote. See would be saw. Go would be went. And shut would stay shut. It would stay the same. All right. So saying I shut the door, like me saying I shut the door being right now, would be spelled the exact same way as saying he shut the door 2 days ago, for example. All right, so here we have sentence examples. Mozart wrote more than 600 pieces of music. All right, so here we have the example of wrote. We saw Alice in town a few days ago. I went to the cinema 3 times last week, and it was cold, so I shut the window. All right. So in questions and negative sentences, we use did and didn't plus an infinitive. So an infinitive are things like enjoy, see, go, things like that. All right. So I enjoyed. She saw, they went. All right. Did you enjoy? Did she see? Did they go? Things like that. Then we have like, I didn't enjoy. She didn't see. They didn't go. So I enjoyed the party a lot. Did you enjoy it? How many people did they invite to the wedding? I didn't buy anything because I didn't have any money. Did you go out? No, I didn't. Okay, so these are all examples of questions and negative sentences. So sometimes do is the main verb in the sentence, like did you do or I didn't do. So what did you do at the weekend? You wouldn't say something like, what did you at the weekend? You have to add do in the end. Then it's kind of like an answer to the first sentence. I didn't do anything. And you wouldn't say something like, I didn't anything. You'd say, I didn't do. So The past of be, like am is are, is was where. Okay. So I, he, she, it. You can use any of those words with was or wasn't. So I wasn't or I was. He wasn't or he was. She wasn't or she was. And it wasn't or it was. Then we, you, and they, you can use any of those words with were and weren't. So like we were or we weren't. You were or you weren't. And they were or they weren't. All right. And then you have question form. Was, and then I, he, she, it. So like was I, was he, was she, was it. And then we have were, which would be were we, were you, were they. Okay. So I was annoyed because they were late. Was the weather good when you were on holiday? They weren't able to come because they were so busy. I wasn't hungry, so I didn't eat anything. Did you go out last night or were you too tired? All right, those are all examples of that. So now we have our exercises. So here we're going to read about what Laura says. Okay, so this is what she usually does on a working day. So I usually get up at 7 o'clock and have a big breakfast. I walk to work, which takes me about half an hour. I start work at 8:45. I never have lunch. I finish work at 5 o'clock. I'm always tired when I get home. I usually cook a meal in the evening. I don't usually go out. I go to bed at about 11 o'clock and I always sleep well. Okay. So yesterday was a typical working day for Laura. So everything that she said happened yesterday, pretty much. Write what she did or didn't do yesterday. Okay. So number one, we have she got up at 7 o'clock. It says that in the paragraph. So number two, she blank a big breakfast. What would we put for that one? She ate a big breakfast. Good. Number three, she blank. This is, I'll give you a hint. This is a way to get to work. She walked to work. Good. Number four, it blank to get to work. It took half an hour. Good. Number five, blank at 8:45. She starts work at 8:45. Good. Number six, blank lunch. She never eats lunch. Good. Number seven, blank at 5 o'clock. She finishes work at 5 o'clock. Good. Number eight, blank tired when blank home. This one would be she's always tired when she gets home. All right. Number nine, blank a meal yesterday evening. It would be she made a meal yesterday evening. All right. 11, blank at 11 o'clock. She sleeps at 11 o'clock. Good. And then 12, blank well last night. She slept well last night. Good, good. All right. For this next part, all we're going to do is complete the sentences, okay? So, Mozart wrote more than 600 pieces of music. All right, that's number one. Number two, how did you learn to drive? My father blank me. My father taught me. Good. Number three, we couldn't afford to keep our car, so we blank it. So we sold it. Good. Number four, Dave blank down the stairs this morning and blank his leg. It would be Dave fell down the stairs and hurt his leg. Okay. Number five, Joe blank the ball to Sue, who blank it. Okay, Joe threw the ball to Sue, who caught it. Good. And number six, Kate blank a lot of money yesterday. She blank a dress which blank $100. It would be Kate spent a lot of money yesterday. She bought a dress which costed $100 or which costs $100, whichever one. All right. Okay. Next. So, let's say you know a person named James, okay, and you're asking him about his holiday. So, this is just questions that you would ask about it. So, the first part, you have you. Where did you go? And then James says, to the US. We went on a trip from San Francisco to Denver. And then it says, how blank? By car? So what could we put in the blank? How did you go there? Okay, good. And then it says, yes, we hired a car in San Francisco. Then it says, it's a long way to drive. How long blank? How long did it take? Good. And then he says, 2 weeks. We stopped at a lot of places along the way. And then number four, where blank? In hotels? Where did you stay? Good. And then number five, blank good. And then James says, yes, but it was very hot. Sometimes too hot. You could say, was it good? Good. Okay. And then number six, blank the Grand Canyon. It would be, did you visit the Grand Canyon? And then James says, of course, it was wonderful. All right, so here we have more sentences to complete, and we want to put the correct verb in the sentence. Okay, so here we have two examples. It was warm, so I took off my coat. And we have the second one. The film wasn't very good. I didn't enjoy it much. All right. So 3, I knew Sarah was busy, so I blank her. So I didn't disturb her. Good. Number 4, we were very tired, so we blank the party early. Left. Good. All right. Number 5, it was hard carrying the bags. They blank really heavy. They were really heavy. Good. Okay. The bed was very uncomfortable. I blank well. What about that one? Then it would be I didn't sleep well. Good. Number 7, this watch wasn't expensive. It blank much. It didn't cost much. Good. All right, 8. The window was open and a bird blanked into the room. And a bird flew into the room. Good. I was in a hurry, so I blank time to call you. So I didn't have time to call you. Good. Number 10. I didn't like the hotel. The room blank very clean. The room wasn't very clean. Good, good. All right. So now we move on to the next part of the lesson, which is past continuous I was doing. Okay. So here we have an example situation. Karen and Joe played tennis. Okay. They started at 10 o'clock and finished at 11:30. So at 10:30, they were playing tennis. Okay. They were playing would mean that they were in the middle of playing and they had not finished. Okay. So was and were, and then plus an ing is the past continuous. So something like he, she, it was playing, or we, you, they were playing. Okay. So I was doing something means I was in the middle of doing it at a certain time. Okay. So the action or situation started before this time, but had not finished. So I started doing would be past. I was doing would be in between past and present. And I finished doing would also be past. So I was doing could be in between past and now, or both past and like the time you started and the time you finished. Okay. So this time last year, I was living in Hong Kong. What were you doing at 10 o'clock last night? I waved to Helen, but she wasn't looking. All right. So here we are going to compare I was doing and I did. Okay. So I was doing means that you were in the middle of an action. Okay. So we have something like we were walking home when I met Dan. Okay. So that means this person met Dan while they were walking home. Or Kate was watching TV when we arrived, which means that they arrived while Kate was watching TV, like in the middle of it. And then I did means that you finished the action. That means everything about it is done. So we walked home after the party last night. So they walked all the way home. They didn't just walk a little bit and then stop. They walked all the way. And then Kate watched TV a lot when she was ill last year. Okay. That means she started and finished watching TV. So you can say that something happened, as in past simple, in the middle of something else in past continuous. So like Matt phoned while we were having dinner. It was raining when I got up. I saw you in the park yesterday. You were sitting on the grass and reading a book. I hurt my back while I was working in the garden. But we use the past simple to say that one thing happened after another. So like I was walking along the road when I saw Dan. So I stopped and we talked for a while. Okay. So here we have two things to compare. We have when Karen arrived, we were having dinner. And we have when Karen arrived, we had dinner. Okay. So does anybody know the difference between these two? I'll give you guys a second if you're typing it out. All right. So the difference between these two is the first one, when Karen arrived, we were having dinner. That means that when Karen got to the house or wherever they are, they were already eating. Okay. The second one means, which is when Karen arrived, we had dinner, means that when Karen made it, they waited for her and then they had dinner when she arrived. Okay. So the first one is when Karen arrived, we were having dinner, which means whenever she arrived, they were already eating. And the second one is when Karen arrived, we had dinner, which means whenever she arrived, they started eating. Okay. So some verbs, for example, know and want, are not normally used in continuous forms, like is plus ing, was plus ing, etc., things like that. So we were good friends. We knew each other well, and not something like we were knowing each other well. Okay. Or we have, I was enjoying the party, but Chris wanted to go home. We wouldn't say that something like I was enjoying the party, but Chris was wanting to go home. Okay. So now we go on to the exercises. So here we're just going to complete the sentences by picking the two words out of the box. Okay. So what did he say? I don't know. I blank. What do we put for that one? I don't know. I wasn't listening. Good. 3, we blank at the back of the theater. We couldn't hear very well. What about that one? We were sitting. Good. Number 4. They didn't see me. Number 4. This time last year, Steve blank on a farm. What about that one? Steve was working on a farm. Good. Number 5, they didn't see me. They blank in my direction. This one would be they weren't looking in my direction. Okay. Number 6, the weather was bad. It was very cold and it's blank. And it was snowing. Good. Number 7, I saw your car where blank. Or I saw you in your car where blank. Where were you going? Good. And then the last one, I saw Kate a few minutes ago. She blank for you. She was looking for you. Good. Okay, so now we have to match the sentences together. All right, so we have our example. So we're starting off with number 1. When I got to the cafe, it says that the answer was F. So it would be when I got to the cafe, my friends were waiting for me. Okay, so number 2, we fell asleep. And which one would that one go with? Okay, we fell asleep while we were watching a film. Okay, good. Number 3, Amy learned Italian when she was living in Rome. Good. Number 4, Tom didn't come out with us. All right, good. Tom didn't come out with us because he wasn't feeling well. Number 5, the car began to make a strange noise. The car began to make a strange noise when I was driving home. Good. Number 6, the TV was on, but nobody was watching it. Good. And then number 7, when I first met Jessica, she was working in a clothes shop. Good, good. Okay. All right, so put the verb into the correct form. Past continuous or past simple, okay? So we have our verbs in parentheses, and we have to put them in the correct form. So we'll start with the second one. She blank me, and then we have not and see. So what would we say for this one? She didn't see me. All right, good. And then number 3, she blank the other way, and we have look. She was looking the other way. Good. All right, the second one. I blank home yesterday, and we have cycle. I was cycling home yesterday when a man blank out into the road in front of me. When a man stepped out into the road in front of me. Good. I blank quite fast, but luckily I was going quite fast, but luckily I blank to stop in time. And we have managed to stop in time. Good. And I blank him, and it says not hit him, or not hit. And I didn't hit him. Good. All right. And then the last part, we have to put the verb into the correct form in each sentence. So, what blank you do at this time yesterday? Then the answer would be, I was asleep. This one would be, what were you doing? Good. Number 3, blank out last night. No, I was too tired. Did you go out last night? Good. How fast blank when the accident happened? This would be, how fast were you driving? Good. When the accident happened. Good. All right. So, Sam, take a picture of me while I blank, and it says not look. So this one would be, Sam took a picture of me while I wasn't looking. Okay. We were in a difficult position. We not know what to do. So we blank nothing. This would be, we were in a very difficult position. We didn't know what to do. So we did nothing. All right. Number 7, I haven't seen Alan for ages. When I last blank him, he blanked to find a job. When I last saw him, he was trying to find a job. All right. Number 8, I blank along the street when I suddenly blank something behind me. I was walking along the street when I suddenly heard something behind me. Okay. Somebody blank me. I was scared and I blank to run. Somebody was following me. I was scared and I started to run. Good, good. Okay. When I was young, I blank to be a pilot. Later, I blank my mind. When I was young, I wanted to be a pilot. Later, I changed my mind. Good. And then 10, last night, I dropped a plate when I blank the washing up. So last night, I dropped a plate when I was doing the washing up. Fortunately, it blank, and it says not break. So what would that one be? Fortunately, it didn't break. All right, good. All righty. Well, that is all that we have for today. So I appreciate all of you for coming. You all did a great job. Before we end off, I'd just like to remind you not to forget any of the previous homeworks and not to forget to do them. They will all be posted in the Google Classroom. So thank you all for coming. You all did a great job, and I will see you all next time.